Katrinascreations. This is episode 122. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back each week. If you're brand new to checking out the channel, thank you for stopping by. And if you like what you see, please click the little red subscribe button down below. And if you click the little bell icon next to it, it will let you know anytime I post a video, which is always on a Saturday and sometimes other times during the week. So let's get started. I have no finished objects this week. It's been an extremely busy week with work and everything. So lots of other stuff going on. So no finished objects, but let's get started with what I am working on. First off, our doily along has started. So it started March 1st, which would have been Friday. And it is running from March 1st until April 30th. And in order to enter, you just have to either knit or crochet a doily of your choice and then send the picture over to the Ravelry thread in my Ravelry group. And the link to the Ravelry group is down below in the description box. Now, the doily that I am making is the fractal. There it is. This particular doily is a paid-for pattern, but I really liked the shape of it. And so far, I'm having absolutely no problem with it because it's only this big so far. My only concern is it's looking kind of ruffled. Not sure if that doesn't look great or not. So if you've made this, and I know, Pam, you've made it, and other people have, is it supposed to look like this? Let me know. I've been counting the stitches as I go around, and I'm okay stitch-wise, but I don't know. It's a little roughly looking right here. But that's all I've gotten so far because I've ripped it out 3 times because it kept ruffling, and I was like, is it supposed to do that or not? I don't know if it maybe straightens itself out because the stitch count between this row, and the next row doesn't increase, so maybe it kind of straightens itself out. I'm not sure. Anyway, there it is. So let me tell you what the prize is going to be. Like I said, this is going to run until the end of April. And at the end of April, I will draw a winner from the Ravelry group. You must have a finished object, no partial projects. It has to be finished. The prize for this is something that I actually spun. It is hand spun 100% silk. So here it is. And it is white, so if you wanted to dye it, you could. There it is. And like any hand spun, it is uneven. There is some thinner or thicker spots. It's got a pretty sheen to it. And I forget what the yardage is. I will put the yardage right up in here, how many it is. I know it's a good bit. It's really, really soft. And it is about a lace weight. So, between a lace and a fingering weight. So there it is. Like I said, hand spun silk. And that will be the prize. So that is my doily, or doyelette at this point. It's so tidy. So project number 1. And I'm using a 2mm crochet hook, which is little itty bitty tiny. But I'm ended up looking like over my glasses like this because even my bifocals don't help. So I'm like looking over my glasses like this, looking like a true grandma, looking like this to be able to see what I'm doing. Maybe I should knit a strange shaped blanket that is shaped like this. Then I could use thicker yarn and a bigger crochet hook. Anyway, so that's what's going on with that one. Next we have the socks. Here are my 2 at a time socks. I have completed, they are cuff down. So I have completed the cuff down to the heel, and I'm now working down the foot. And they're both the same. And this Wednesday will be the final tutorial in the series. That will be part 4, and I will be doing the toe and binding off. So if you've missed any of the other tutorials and you want to see them, if you click the little eye that's right here, that will take you right over to it, and you can watch the other ones in these tutorial series. Now, I had a scarf that I'm working on for my husband. I did not knit on that at all this week. Like I said, it's been a little crazy. And I also bought some, I had some red yarn that I showed you last week that I'm going to make a shawl that's called the Galaxy Shawl. I didn't end up going to knit night because, like I said, things have been a little crazy. So both of those projects have had no love whatsoever this week. And my last, or well, no, not my last project. My next project is my basket wave shawl. Now, you remember the design shawl. My granddaughter was over today, and she actually modeled the blue and white one, and some of those pictures will go into the pattern, but I thought I'd show you guys what it looks like with my granddaughter modeling it, so here they are. And now I'm knitting it a second time before I send it to my test knitters, and I was knitting it out of these 2 colors. And my main color was going to be this, with the basket wave patterns, or basket weave patterns, going in this one. However, partway through, I realized this might not work. And the reason I realized this, which it should have occurred to me before, because I once made a shawl out of very busy hand-dyed lace weight yarn that I had hand-dyed in a class at my local yarn store. The pattern was so busy in the yarn that the design didn't show up. That's exactly what was going on here. And Kimberly, who is also Yarn Addict, aka Kalo, contacted me and said, Katrina, is your pattern going to be a little too busy with this to be able to really see the basket wave? Maybe you should reverse it. And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking you're right. And so I tested a little teeny bit of this doing the basket weave pattern, and she was completely right. The pattern just, the stitches didn't show up really well. So I reversed it. So the main color that is just garter stitch is done in this, and that kind of showcases all the colors that are here. This is a yarn that was hand dyed by a semi-local dyer to me just outside of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And the yarn is called Ubiquitous, and it was designed after for the yarn store that's named Ubiquitous, that is in, and it's EWE, Ubiquitous, that is in the little town of Lidditz. And so this was some hand dyed. So let me show you how far I've gotten so far. This yarn is a little bit thinner than my blue and white yarn. My blue and white shawl was done with this yarn, which was also a fingering weight, but it was a little, it was just a little bit thicker than this. So my main colors here are not as broad as it was in the blue and white. But here is what it looks like. And I've gotten the first section done. And there, see if I can get it so it doesn't blow out. I'm having a little bit of problems with lighting because I'm filming Thursday night because I work tomorrow on Friday. And we're cleaning the church tomorrow night as well. And we're expecting a snowstorm. So, yeah, so I'm filming, and it's later Thursday night, so my lighting in here is really not the greatest. But anyway, here is the stitch pattern. You can see it a little bit better. It's still a little blown out. There we go. Now you can see it. So that is all the further I've gotten with this because, like I said, I ripped it out partway through because I realized, thanks to Kimberly, that I really needed to switch these colors around a little bit. So I did that. And then I have my flax light sweater. And I have knit, this is the free pattern by Tin Can Knits. I have knit on it about another 1.5 inches. You can see my stitch marker right here. So I've knit up this direction. And there's several of you who are also making this. Mine has, quote, designer element sleeves because I didn't read the pattern right. And I did the entire sleeve in garter stitch instead of just a panel. And somebody else did the same thing. And I told them, we'll be twins. So, yes, we're starting a fashion statement all by ourselves. But I actually like it the way it's turned out. So here are my increases. So this is the front and one of the sleeves. So I'm hoping to get this done in the next few weeks. But that is the Flax Light sweater. So now before we go to show and tell, I wanted to do the new segment, which is called Review the Product. And the reason I wanted to do that is because you will see one of the products in the show and tell. So I want to tell you a little bit more about it. Now, last week's Review the Product was Ice Yarn, and that was thanks to Pamela Phillips, who sent a review of the yarn she used, and you will see the yarn in the show and tell. She made the pineapple swing vest, and she completed it this past week. So you'll see some pictures of her completed project and with her modeling it. But she used Ice Yarn, and it's funny because this week I have watched The Secret Yarnery and Creative Grandma both have done yarn hauls from Ice Yarn this week. So I thought that was kind of funny. The book that I'm going to show you was sent to me, a picture by Wanda Muse, who lives in northern Maine, but she's originally from Newfoundland. And so she sent this book. It was a pair of mittens that she made out of it. And the book itself is called From the Island of Newfoundland, and it's called Saltwater Mittens. And it is more than 20 heritage designs. So she was telling me a little bit about Newfoundland, and I thought it would be interesting to share because I know several of you are from Newfoundland or Canada, and we also have a group of people that watch from the UK, Ireland, and Scotland. So I thought this would be kind of interesting because from what she was telling me, the west coast of Newfoundland is mostly made up of the Mi'kmaq tribe, French, Irish, and Scottish, people of those heritages. Over on the east coast of Newfoundland are mostly British and Scottish immigrants that have settled in there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And so these are 20 patterns that are traditional patterns for those different people groups. So I thought it would be interesting. And the mittens that she shares, you'll notice they look a little strange, and there's a reason. They look like a mitten like this. You're not looking at two thumbs. They're called trigger mittens. So they're mittens here, and then this finger is separate, and then your thumb. And the reason is so that you can, pull a trigger mittens. But you could also, like if you were into bow hunting, or even, as I know not everybody is hunters. My son and my daughter-in-law are. My dad used to be. Most deer season in stuff is in the fall when it's kind of chilly. So they would be handy to have. But I also thought, if you used a computer and you had to have one finger free to be able to run the mouse, other than you would have to use that special yarn that you can put on your knit into the fingertips so that you can run the mouse on a laptop. So anyway, those are a couple of things that you're going to see that are interesting in this show and tell. But there's also, Demetra made a dreamy diamond throw that's really, really pretty. There's some things that I think are going to end up in my Ravelry library shortly. Yoka made a really cute sock bag. She made a project bag specifically for her socks. There are socks on the pattern itself, but at the end of the drawstrings are these itty bitty tiny little knitted socks. So those are really cute. Lucy sent in a bunch of pictures of some shawls, which are all absolutely gorgeous. She also sent some fingerless mitts, but I like the cabled cardie that she sent in. It's really cute. It's just very feminine, so I like that one. And then Pam also, like I said, sent in her completed picture of her pineapple shawl, which is gorgeous. And so that might have to be made by me one day if I ever progress beyond what I'm doing with crochet. So now that I've told you a little bit about what you're going to see, I'm going to roll the footage for our show and tell this week. So now let's move on to acquisitions. I have a lot of things this week, so let me get those. The first thing I got acquisition-wise this week were 3 skeins of hand-dyed, hand-spun yarn. Now, how this happened was my coworker has a sister-in-law who years ago, like probably close to 20 years ago, owned her own sheep, and so she actually would process the wool and spin it and then dye it. And she had given her this yarn years ago, and it got tucked away, and she found it the other day, and she said she wasn't going to do anything with it, so she gave it to me. I am the happy recipient. These are going to be turned into, I think, there's not enough to do anything major with them, but I'm thinking slippers. I've been on a slippers kick lately, but I'm thinking these will be nice slippers. This is probably a DK weight, which means it's not fingering weight. It's kind of like a sport weight. It's not as big as thick as worsted weight. It's very fluffy. It's kind of spun unevenly, and it's very loosely plied. There, you can see it here. This one is natural colored. I have no idea how many yards are in this. I just know it's not a huge amount. So there is one. And then there's another one of pink. And another one of purple. So like I said, they're going to go together and make some nice fuzzy soft slippers that I will probably felt, because they are 100% wool, they will felt. So that was my first acquisition this week. Then I had a very sweet viewer send me something in the mail. My husband walked in the door this morning and said, "You got some yarn in the mail." And I said, "I didn't order any yarn." He goes, "I don't know. It feels like yarn." And he's squishing it. He goes, "It feels like yarn." And I looked at it, the package before I opened it, and I was like, oh, I know who this is from. This is the same viewer who came to the rescue this past year when I was making the Virus Meets Granny shawl, and I ran out of one color of yarn, and my yarn shop had run out of that color as well. And I was scrambling trying to find it, and she happened to find it in her local yarn store, and she sent it to me. So out of the blue, this shows up in the mail today. This is the same yarn. This is from Knit Crate. This is the same yarn that I am making Dave's scarf out of. So I was like, how cool is this? I mean, what I have, I'm going to have enough to make his scarf with. But now we can be matchy-matchy because I could make this for me and we will have matching scarves. So although it might turn into like a cowl, but we can wear them together. So we will look like a matched pair. So I'm not going to say the viewer's name because she didn't say whether she wanted it announced or not, but you know who you are, and thank you so much. This will definitely be used, and an official thank you card will be in the mail. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it was totally unexpected, and I was kind of having a blue day today, so this just made my day. It was like, oh, sunshine in my mailbox. So thank you so much. The other thing I got this week is not yarn related, however, I will be using it for some yarny type of things. So I ordered, one of my affiliates that I work with is Consumer Crafts, and I hadn't bought anything from them before. And if you remember last week, they were running a 15% off their clearance sale. So it prompted me to go over and check a few things out that I had had my eye on for a while. And I bought a few things. They have a cart that I've had my eye on for a while. IKEA actually sells a cart that is almost identical to it, but I didn't want to pay the price that IKEA was charging for it. And I thought, here they had it. I got it really, really cheap. It was, I left the prices downstairs. Anyway, I will put the prices of everything as I show it. I'll put them up here. But I bought the cart, which is 3 tiers. They come in gray, white, blue, and red. So I will put the information. I filmed the footage downstairs of the cart because I didn't want to carry it upstairs to film it. So it's downstairs and I filmed it separately. So I'm going to let you take a peek at that. And I'll put the dimensions and the price up as well. You'll see that down in the video. So I'm going to let that part roll now. So here is the cart. And standing next to me it comes up to about my hips. So it's a little over 30 inches. And this is how I'm using it. It comes in several colors. It comes in a blush color, which is kind of a light pink. And it comes in a white. This is the gray and a red and a blue. And I'm using the top shelf here to hold like my planner and pattern books. Just different things that I use all the time. Each of these sections, they're deep. They're about 3.5. They're about 3.5 to 4 inches deep this way. They are 16.8 inches wide this direction, and this direction they are 13.9. So we have 3 different compartments. They are on casters, and they do have the ability to lock, so you can roll it or you can lock the caster so it doesn't roll. And I'm using the other 2 shelves here for all of my project bags projects that I'm working on, and then down in the bottom one down here, I am using it to hold my sweater since it's a little bit bigger. So my flax light supplies are down here. And these are all the other projects that I'm working on. And this, I actually set my laptop across the top here, and I can roll it around and keep it next to my chair and then push it out of the way real easy when I'm done with it. So I'm really happy with it. It was $29.97, and Consumer Crafts is running a $2 shipping offer for this week, if that's something you would be interested in. And then I bought a couple of other things, and I will put the prices for each of these down below as you see them. The first thing I got was a pack of 3 little notebooks. They are in navy, gray, and this kind of turquoise color. There you can see the colors. And they are 3.5 by 5.5 inches. And I believe there's like 40 pages in here. I'll put down how many pages too. I got these with the idea of just I like to have a little notebook in my pocketbook if I need to write down something. I like to have paper available, so these are perfect, and they're soft bound, so they'll fit really easy into my pocketbook. So I got these, and then I bought 2 of these notebooks. They have an elastic. These are 5 inches by 8.25 inches. And they're just plain inside, but I thought they would be perfect for, looks like they even have a little page marker. They do. They even have a ribbon marker in them right here. So what I got these for, I thought they would be ideal, and I did buy 2 of them for when I'm writing my knitting patterns, so I can keep them all together, or if I'm drawing designs for the knitting pattern. So I bought 2 of those. And then I ordered 2 of these. They actually, by accident, sent me 3. So I contacted the company and I said, you sent me 3, I only asked for 2. I only paid for 2. Do you want me to pay for the 3rd one? And they told me no, to go ahead and keep it, since it was their mistake that they threw an extra one in there. But this is put out by the Happy Planner, which is a major planning company. And I do use a planner. With as busy as things get for me, I have to keep writing things down. Plus, I like the feeling of making a list and then crossing things off the list. To be honest, sometimes I write things on the list, even though I've done them already, and just so I can have the thrill of crossing it off afterwards. I know, it's crazy, but I just like the feeling. I feel like I've accomplished something. I can draw a line through it or put a check mark next to it. So this is intended as a planner pouch. It has a really nice zipper pull on it, and it's just an empty pouch inside. The actual use for these is to put pens and pencils and all that stuff for your planning in it. And then this strap on the back attaches to the back of your planner, so you got it all together. That's the plan for it, which is great. It would work for that. I also thought it would make a really nice notions pouch for knitting or crocheting, where you could throw some stitch markers, progress keeper, scissors, ruler, things like that in it. And then you could attach it to whatever project you're working on. Now, along with that, I've had this for a while, but I thought I would show you what this is. I got this from Knit Picks. Okay. It is magnetic. What it is, I have a pattern in here so you can see it. It's magnetic, and it comes with these markers. I've actually lost a few of these. These are magnets. You use the magnet to hook your pattern at the top and the bottom and the sides or whatever. And then this one you can move along to keep track of what row you are on while you're working. And then this strap in the back snaps in place so that your work can actually sit up. So you can actually sit it like that as you're working. Or you can lay it flat. So I thought, well, wouldn't this be handy if I'm running around if I'm running around with my knitting pattern here, that I could put my notions pouch right on here and attach it to the back, and they would all stay together. So I thought that was a pretty clever way to use it. So yeah, I was excited. So I have 2 of those. Well, actually I have 3 by default. So I was excited about that. So those are my acquisitions for this week. And now it is time for in our Come and Get It section today, we have Annie's is offering Aunt Lydia's crochet thread for $1.99. Now that is the size 3 and the size 10 in the doily along. Those might be something you would be interested in. So that again is Aunt Lydia's crochet thread. Sizes 3 and 10 are available for $1.99. And I believe that was in the clearance section. Bluprint, which is the old Craftsy, is offering Bernat satin for $2.09, and their super bulky acrylic sprightly yarn for $3.15, and also their Bernat softy chunky for $3.29. Consumer Crafts, which is all the products I was showing you with the journals and the cart that I got, they are offering for this week $2 for shipping. Yeah, wish I would have known that. I think I paid $7.99 for shipping, which is pretty good for that because the cart's all metal, so it's heavy. But anyway, this week they're offering $2 shipping. So if you're interested in the cart or something, $2 shipping is like dirt cheap. So anyway, that is Consumer Crafts. Create for Less. It is apparently National Craft Month. So they're National Craft. Yeah. They are having a sale for National Craft Month. And they have, of course, in their clearance, which is up to 70% off of the regular prices. They also have their Red Heart Gradient Cake. It's called It's a Wrap. It's 1,100 yards of yarn for $8.59. Hobium Yarn is offering Utopia Wool, which is a 75% superwash, 25% polyamide. So you could make socks with it because it has some nylon in it as well. But they are offering that. It's 459 yards of fingering weight yarn. And you get 5 skeins of that for $9.87. Knit Crate, of course, offers their standard 20% off of your first subscription box. You must use the coupon code KCreations20 to get that 20% off. Knit Picks, their yarn of the month, which is always 20% off, is called City Tweed, and it is a tweed yarn. It is 55% merino, 25% superwash alpaca, and 20% Donegal tweed. So it comes in a DK weight and an Aran weight. Aran is going to be a little heavier than your worsted, just in case you aren't familiar with yarn weights. It's a little bit chunkier. It's not like a super chunky, but it's just a little heavier than your worsted weight. So anyway, the DK comes in a 50-gram ball, and it runs $4.79 up to $5.99. And the Aran weight is a 100-gram ball, and it comes in, it's for $8.79 to $10.99, depending on what you choose. Lion Brand Yarn is having some great yarn sales in their sheep skate section. So they are having one of the things I saw was the cupcake yarn that's like it's in a cake, and it's a gradient. And they are offering that right now for $5.59. And Leisure Arts is offering lots of knitting, crochet, and doily patterns on sale right now. So those are our sales for the week. If you're wondering what this scarf is that I'm wearing. It is an infinity scarf. There's no pattern for it. It is just simply knit with knit two together and yarn over. Here's what it looks like. And this yarn, I don't know if it is still available. It was called Blick Fang, which means eye-catching. It's very bumpy. You can see when I hold this up. It's got like little bobbles in it. So you could do the same thing with any yarn that had some texture to it. It's very soft. I think it's all acrylic. I got it at my local yarn shop a couple years ago, and it just feels nice around your neck. So that is what this is that I am wearing. So that wraps it up for this week. Thank you so much for watching. On Wednesday, like I said, we will have our last tutorial for the socks. So if you've been watching and following along, that will be up on Wednesday. And other than that, we just have the doily along, like I said, going on, and enter your finished projects over in the Ravelry group. And I look forward to seeing all of them. And that will run until April 30th when a prize will be awarded. So thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll see you again next week.